Hello and welcome to Balanced Existence. Today I just want to reflect on this channel and I think spirituality channels in general. So it's going to be a little different kind of a channeled message today. No tarot or oracle cards, but it's been something that I've been reflecting on a lot, and it's a message that's just been on my heart and on my mind really strongly. So I've just been personally undergoing a lot of extreme transformations. I'm sure many in this collective are. And a message that came to me as I was reflecting on this channel and on YouTube in general and all of the content out there, especially the spiritual content, is that it is so important to be discerning. And what I mean by that is I can see these platforms. I mean, this could really be any social media platform, but mostly YouTube is what I'm spending my time on. And the vision I'm seeing, this sounds kind of negative, so take this with a grain of salt, but the vision that came to my mind's eye is like a fly trap. And I know it sounds very negative to think of like every user on these social media platforms as some kind of fly that's just followed the bait and fallen into this fly trap. Like, that's very negative and graphic, right? But please know that my intentions are purely positive as I channel into this. I understand we're all human beings, and of course we partake in cultural and societal communities and platforms and trends and things like this. And that's a completely normal and valid part about being a human being, and I would not suggest that we don't partake in that. But in the spirit of self-awareness, I wanted to point out that there's such a slippery slope and a trap, especially when it comes to spiritual content or content that is geared or directed towards the spiritual communities. And this includes twin flame communities as well. And this trap that I'm talking about, I think in simple terms, it's the ego. It's the trap that our ego takes the bait of. And the way that I see this work is that our ego is seeking control, is wanting to tell a narrative so that it feels like it knows what's going on and that it has this kind of sense of control over our lives, right? And the ego is seeking answers about certain external situations or external people. It's all for a sense of control for the ego, right? This is the fly trap. And the slippery slope is that spiritual communities are, of course, a beautiful place for people to speak about their shadow work and speak about their journey and their growth and their transformation. And that gives us comfort, and that's healthy. But the slippery slope leads us into kind of this dopamine hit of, like I said, the egoic control. And while, of course, we have an ego and we'll always have an ego, when it takes over, we don't actually grow on an emotional or spiritual level to the potential that we could be. And so that's why on this channel, I don't really channel into external circumstances or people, because, or at least in terms of specifics, because that's not really what I want this channel to be about. I want this channel to be about you and your internal world and the guidance that you may need to grow as a person. And this guidance is ultimately meant to be feeding into your intuitive skills, right? So it's not about me giving guidance of how you should navigate a situation. It's about me giving you guidance to get in touch with your intuition so that you know how to navigate a situation. So I hope that this makes sense. And I want to talk a little more about the value and benefit of external people and situations towards our growth, and how we can best use it without falling down that egoic fly trap, if you will. So we do need to understand external things in our reality, because especially in the context of the law of attraction and how our energy kind of attracts things to us as a mirror, right? It is a valuable mirror towards what's going on inside. But it's kind of like if you were looking at yourself in the mirror and you saw like something in your teeth or a smudge on your face, and you obsessively tried to clean the mirror. That's what it means to fall down these egoic traps and to focus predominantly and excessively on the external, right? Like the mirror itself. Or, if you're interacting with somebody and you're kind of projecting or blaming them for how they're showing up, but you're not looking at how you're showing up. Like, that's really what I'm getting at, right? So it's, of course, crucial to, like, I'm not saying to ignore or bypass external situations and experiences. I'm just saying that I don't want to center the readings around them. So, of course, I have to tap into these realities to understand and serve the collective. But I don't want to make predictions, because then we're focused on external outcomes. So, for example, if I pulled the Knight of Cups, which often represents a romantic gesture, I don't want to take that and run with it and say somebody's going to reach out with a romantic gesture. That could be true for some of the collective, but as a tarot reader, I know what it's like, and not only as a tarot reader, but as somebody who has listened to countless tarot readings and has listened to ones that have made me fall down ego traps, and have listened to ones that have actually made me become more insightful about myself and reflect on my own patterns, and actually were instrumental towards my own healing. And that discernment is key. And so as a tarot reader, I feel this responsibility to make sure my messages are focused inward for those who are listening. So in the Knight of Cups example, my interpretation is about the inner energy that the Knight of Cups represents and how that manifests in yourself on an internal level. So that feeling of creativity and emotional intuition, and the romance and the charm and the messenger of love meaning that the Knight of Cups represents can also be interpreted on an internal level. Because we know what it feels like, and I'm getting chills channeling into this. We know what it feels like to embody the Knight of Cups energy. And I'm not even talking towards others, like when you give somebody a romantic gesture, or when you give somebody a message of love, or when you have the effect of charm on another person. I'm still not talking about from you to others. I'm talking about from you to yourself, a fully inward experience of the Knight of Cups. So you can see it's not really about literal romance or literal messages of love when we take the archetypal meaning of this card. But it's about the energy of what does it feel like when you feel charming, or when you feel charmed, or when you feel romance, or when you feel like an exciting message of love. Like, that is the inner emotions that I want the collective to tap into. And when that card comes up, it's showing us that we have the opportunity to tap into that. It's not because I'm going to act that way towards another, or another is going to act that way towards me. I mean, that could very well be the case, but that's not the meaning. That's not the purpose that I'm trying to convey as I read the cards. So that was just kind of like a one card example, but this is kind of how I read the cards, because I know what it's like to receive a tarot reading saying that I will receive a romantic gesture. And while sometimes I can receive that message, like from another tarot reader saying you will receive a romantic gesture or something like that. And it is possible to not fall down an egoic trap when you hear a message like that. Because in the moment, and I'm conscious as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, what would it feel like to receive that? And then I get really excited, and then I'm like, wow, like this reading just invoked in me this feeling of excitement. But it stops there. I haven't now taken it down the thought spiral of, okay, well, who's going to reach out to me? Is it this person? When are they going to reach out? Because then I've fallen down the egoic spiral, right? And there have been other times where I will listen to a reading like that, and I will completely bypass the inner emotional experience of the excitement of a romantic gesture, and I will jump straight to, oh yay, somebody's going to reach out to me in the next month, right? Like, it's a complete bypassing of the emotional archetype of that card that was there to serve me, that was there to help me kind of manifest these emotions. And I completely bypassed it and went straight to the ego and straight to the looking towards my external environment. So I hope you can kind of see the line between how we interpret messages and how when we tap into our internal world, we're able to manifest from that emotion. And that's really the value of what these cards are bringing to us. The archetypes of the cards and how they're allowing us to remember the wide variety of experiences that life comes with, and how each and every one of them is serving us and our soul's evolution, and is leading us to the highest timeline we can possibly achieve and live on. And when we live in this way that is guided and led by our internal emotional state, that is when we are truly empowered. Because we can conjure any emotion at any given time. And when you know that you have that power and you practice it and embody it and show up with it, then when external things do happen and we undergo all of these ebbs and flows of life, we're able to surrender and flow with life more, because we know we have the resilience and we have the emotional capacity to pivot and feel what we need to feel and manifest the feelings and therefore the reality that we want. And so if we're feeling sad because of something that happened to us, we can flow with that and allow it. We don't have to bypass it. We can just live it, because that could be, oh, that's the Three of Swords energy, and I'm feeling into it and I'm allowing it, and I'm intuitively tapping into and opening myself to guidance as to what this is teaching me. And then the feeling will pass, and then the next thing you know, you'll find yourself in the sun or the star energy, right? So that flow is crucial. Then it doesn't become about what caused the Three of Swords energy and sadness, or what's going to cause the sun and the star energy. It's not about, the tarot reading telling you predictions of what and when will come to sway and pivot and control your emotions. It's about you being able to live through and feel the full spectrum of emotions on an internal level, and have gratitude and love for each one of them and for every part of the journey. That's what I hope tarot allows us to do more. It's like when I get a card like the Tower or the Three of Swords, it's not like, or the devil or the death, I'm not thinking, oh no, why again? Like, why do I have to do this? I'm thinking, ooh, what is there to learn from this? And it's almost just as exciting as when I get the sun and the star and the strength, right? Because you're just flowing with life and you're just excited for whatever does come your way. It's like you're watching your life like a movie. And so it's like you're just kind of getting the popcorn and you're interested, and you're not like so emotionally invested and trying to control the screenplay and trying to change the scene. You're just observing and flowing with it. So I really hope that when I pull cards, like, that's the message that I'm conveying of the archetypes, the beauty of the archetypes. And I'm actually getting a vision of like a plastic bag floating through the wind. But I'm hearing like, what's so wrong about being that plastic bag, and releasing a little bit of control and trusting the direction that the wind is taking you. And so if we're going to be using the tarot as a tool, then it should be to serve our soul's journey, because ultimately that's all we have in life. That's all we have control over in life, right? Control in quotes, is our soul's journey in terms of the decisions we make, the emotions we empower ourselves to move towards. And so when we do have external circumstances or situations or experiences, or, for example, relationships, whether it's family or friends or love, romance, when we have relationships that come into our life and pose challenges, these are significant people and experiences that we don't want to ignore or bypass. But we do want to understand the lessons and the challenges, whether it's the obsession and the attachments of the twin flame journey, or other karmic lessons like self-love and self-worth. Through all of these unhealthy patterns and mistakes, and I would put that in quotes, and all of these wounds that we inflict on ourselves and others, and that others inflict on us, and the ego can spiral into the blame behind all of this. But the purpose here is to understand that through this journey, these are the burdens that we came here to bear, right? Like, these are the lessons that we came here to learn. These are the beautiful gifts. Like, every trigger, every challenge is a gift that is going to feed into our soul's evolution. And so we're going to come out the other side of this journey, whether it's the journey of life or the journey of all of these individual little experiences and lessons and challenges. We're going to come out the other side as an evolved being. And that's really all we can ask for in this life. At the end of this life, right, it really just comes down to you. It comes down to your soul. And your soul is a piece of this wonderful, magical, all-encompassing divine source energy, or God, or whatever you call it. But your role and your responsibility in this lifetime is your soul, your piece of that source energy, and your journey. And so when we use the tarot, it should be in service to that, because that is the sacred ritual that keeps us centered. And that this is the balanced existence we talk about, right? It's not about being perfectly balanced all the time. It's about being centered and continuing to learn as we navigate the ebbs and flows of life. And when I say ebbs and flows, like, these are the moments that we may not feel balanced. And that doesn't mean you're not living a balanced existence. It means kind of like the net energetics of these ebbs and flows are in balance. So you can still go through life and have different friendships and relationships, and, be on social media platforms and go through challenges and different attachments and addictions and breakups. And that's part of the human experience. And that doesn't mean you're not living a balanced existence. It just means that things are happening and things are being attracted to you in your reality. And they're all here to serve some purpose. And you are in the driver's seat of reflecting on that purpose and taking action and being the kind of person you want to be to keep those ebbs and flows in that kind of net balanced energetic state. And what I mean by that is like, there will be highs, there will be lows, but if you can always find your way back to center, then you're balanced. That doesn't mean you have to live in that center point of neutrality, right? Like, you're not meant to be like navigating through life like a Buddhist monk. I mean, you totally can if you'd like, but that's not necessary. You know, you're completely valid in living a human experience of having ups and having downs. But the purpose of the spirituality, and especially understanding the tarot and all of the wide variety of archetypes in the tarot, is so that we can master them and always find our way back to center. And that is a beautiful choice. And that's what I love about the spiritual community, is that we choose to see the meaning in things. We choose to believe in the kind of divine workings. You know, we believe things are meant to be or they're not meant to be, and we kind of surrender to that higher power. And we choose to believe in infinite opportunities for growth, infinite opportunities for abundance, and just the constant potential to grow and evolve. And we know that our choice is the pivotal driving factor here, right? Like, to have the thoughts and behaviors and identity of someone who experiences such powerful, magical, spiritual growth and evolution, that's a choice that we make. And it's something we practice embodying. So I hope that this message is resonating with those that it's meant to find. And ultimately, I just wanted to check in about, you know, how we're spending our time and how we're interpreting the content that we kind of fill our minds with, and the external information that we feed our attention into. Because, you know, attention is like the new currency, especially given all of the technological advances and the content that's out there. You know, think about the time that you spend listening to a video or reading an article or a book or even listening to a song. Think of that as like your attention, and the time you spend directing your attention on certain things is like a currency, just like how money is a currency. And so for you to be discerning with your attention requires this level of self-awareness. And that's what I hope that tarot and all of the archetypes help you grow in. And I created this channel to help you find your way back to center and keep us motivated in the midst of all the ebbs and flows. Because I know what it's like to listen to a tarot reading, and even in a way that I'm not fully conscious of, it spirals me into my ego. But I also know what it's like to listen to a tarot reading and it completely pivots my energy in the most positive and in the best way, where it allows me to remember what I'm here for, what I'm meant to be learning. And of course, this goes hand in hand with the idea that we're always learning. There's always something to be working towards, right? There's always some attachment or addiction or distraction that is right there for us. You know, of course, there's so many ways that the world is set up that is not in our favor, right? But there's also so many ways that the world is set up that is in our favor. And don't we want to focus on the ways that it is in our favor? I don't want to eat fast food and stop working out and get addicted to scrolling or binge eating. I want to focus on spiritual community and tarot and moving my body and eating right? Like, of course, that's a choice. Like, both options, both dualities will always be there, will always be an option. And so when we come back to center, we are empowered again, and then we can make aligned decisions. And that's really what living in alignment is. It's like, this feeds my soul, this doesn't. So I'm going to do the thing that feeds my soul, because that's what it means to live in alignment. And so I want balanced existence to be this portal into using our self-awareness to recognize the opportunities for growth. Because when we're in that portal, we're not even thinking about the external people. And I'm getting chills. We're not thinking about our twin flame. We're not thinking about our boss. We're not thinking about that random person that triggered us. We're not thinking about how much we want to feed our addictions, right? We're in alignment, and we're in a state of clarity. So, all in all, this is why I don't really channel into external people or circumstances, because I think it's such an easy way to bypass the opportunity for growth that is there for the spiritual collective. And I never want to put out a message that's going to unintentionally or inadvertently cause anyone to abandon themselves or neglect their needs or fall out of balance. So I hope that these readings can help you anchor down into your center, and so you can move forward with this steady, balanced existence. And then from there, you can perceive your external reality with a clear mind that is ready and motivated for these opportunities of growth and evolution for your soul. And I'll just end with a reminder about the present moment. Our heart and soul will always call us back to the present moment, and living in this way is what leads to our highest potential. And of course, at the same time, we are human beings as well as spiritual beings, and we're not expected to be perfectly enlightened and present at all times. And of course, we're inevitably going to look back at the past and look forward to our future and feel all of the range of emotions that comes with that. And that's part of the human experience. So with balanced existence, I hope that the guidance and content will call us back into the present moment more and more, and allow us to form that habit and form that lifestyle. And like I said at the beginning, it's of course not about taking my advice or taking my guidance. It's that the readings are me channeling into guidance and messages that are meant to connect you back with your own intuition, so that your soul and your inner knowing can process the information and determine where you're at in the present moment and in real time. And that is the journey, and that is the beauty of your individual soul's experience. And so it's great. It's such a powerful gift to constantly question or be reminded to question where our ego is right now and how much of our lives it is leading, how much of our actions it is leading. Because of course, like I said, the goal is not to be as enlightened as possible and avoid all challenges and never fall into an ego spiral. The purpose is to simply do our best and to gain and practice the variety of skills that we came here to master, including awareness and clarity and balance, so that we can achieve the most fulfillment that we possibly can with the tools that we have in any given moment. And to accept all of it for exactly how it is, because to accept it, meaning to accept the experiences, to accept the skills that you do have, to accept the tools that you do have, to accept the amount of fulfillment that you do have in any given moment. To accept it is to live with the least amount of resistance and the most amount of flow. And that in itself puts you on the path to fulfillment. So I hope that these examples and these messages have helped shed some light on what it means to live in balance and what it means to live in accordance with your soul, even in these human bodies with an ego constantly fighting for control. And I hope that this has sparked a level of awareness in you that will help you moving forward as you consume content, and will help maybe recognize if your ego is triggered, and will help you recognize if you're falling down egoic traps, and will also help you recognize the lesson being learned and how it's serving you. And ultimately, by doing this, you are repeatedly finding your way back to your soul and back to balance over and over again. So this is the message I wanted to channel today. Thank you so much for being here with me today and listening, and I send you so much love. And as always, I would love to hear from you in the comments. It's my absolute favorite thing, is to hear from you. What resonated? What are your thoughts, your breakthroughs? And I will see you in the next video. Bye.